Hello and welcome back to English Made Easy. It is so good to have you here with me today. Our mission on this channel is simple: to help you learn English in the most natural, straightforward, and, dare I say, fun way possible. We're not about memorizing endless grammar rules or boring lists of words. We're about understanding the heart of the language so you can connect with people, share your ideas, and feel confident in the real world. Today, we are diving into something that can be a little scary for everyone, whether you're a native speaker or just starting your English journey. How to start a conversation with anyone. You know that feeling, right? You're in a room, you see someone you'd like to talk to, but a wall of silence stands between you. Your mind goes completely blank. Well, today we are going to gently take that wall apart, brick by brick. We're going to look at simple, powerful techniques you can use anywhere, anytime. Along the way, you're going to learn some fantastic new vocabulary. These aren't just words for a test. These are the words that describe the very skills you'll be building. They will help you think about communication in a new, more powerful way. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how to use these new words, their synonyms, and when to use them in your day-to-day life. You will have a clear map for turning silence into connection. And as always, I want you to practice with me. When I say a new word, I want you to say it after me. Even if you are just whispering to yourself, say it out loud. It's so important to get your mouth and your mind working together. I'll be speaking with the natural rhythm of a native speaker so you can get used to the real sound of English. Are you ready? Let's begin. Some people seem so natural at it, don't they? They walk into a party, a classroom, or a coffee shop, and within minutes, they're laughing with a stranger. It looks like magic. But I want to tell you a secret. Conversation is a skill, not magic. It's something you can learn, practice, and get incredibly good at. It's like learning to play the guitar or ride a bicycle. At first, it feels awkward. Your fingers don't know where to go. You wobble and maybe you fall. But with practice, it becomes second nature. The biggest challenge is often just starting. That first moment, the first words. This act of starting something is our first key idea. The goal in any new interaction is to initiate the conversation. Let's look at that word together. Initiate. It means to cause a process or action to begin, to be the one who starts it. When you initiate a conversation, you are the person who bravely speaks the first words. You are the one who opens the door. Let's practice the pronunciation. Listen carefully and then say it after me. I'll break it into parts. I, ni, she, ate. I, ni, she, ate. Notice where the stress is. It's on the second syllable. I, ni, she, ate. One more time together. Initiate. A simple synonym for initiate is just to start or to begin. You can say, I was too nervous to start the conversation. Or you can use our new, more powerful word, I was too nervous to initiate the conversation. It sounds a little more formal, a little more intentional, doesn't it? It shows you understand the specific action you are taking. So how do you actually do it? How do you initiate? Many people think they need a perfect, clever, or funny opening line. This pressure is what stops most people before they even start. You feel your heartbeat a little faster. You think, what do I say? What if I sound stupid? And so you say nothing at all. We need to throw that idea away. The secret to initiating a conversation is not about being clever, it's about being observant. This brings us to our first and perhaps most powerful technique, the environmental opener. The purpose of this technique is to give you a safe, easy, and natural way to initiate a conversation with absolutely anyone. It works best in any situation where you share a physical space with another person: a cafe, a bus stop, a classroom, a library, a line at the supermarket. The idea behind it is simple. You and the other person are already sharing an experience, even if you're not talking. You are both in the same room, looking at the same things, hearing the same sounds. The environmental opener uses this shared experience as a bridge. You're not inventing something from nothing. You're simply pointing out something that is already there. This makes it feel low pressure for both of you. Let's break down how it works, step by step. First, you prepare. And the preparation is just one thing. Look around. Use your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Is the music in the cafe nice? Is the line moving incredibly slowly? Is there a beautiful piece of art on the wall? Is the coffee machine making a really loud noise? Just notice things. Don't judge them. Just notice them. Next, you introduce your opener. You turn to the person next to you, make gentle eye contact for just a second, and make a simple observational comment. It can be a statement or a question. Then comes the execution. You say the line. Let's imagine you're in a cafe. It's very busy. You could turn to the person next to you in line and say, "Wow, this cafe is always so busy, isn't it?" That's it. That is all you have to do to initiate. Let's look at a bad example and a good corrected example. Imagine you are at a new art gallery. You see someone looking at a painting. A bad example would be to walk up and say, "Do you like art?" This is a closed question. The answer is probably yes. They're in an art gallery after all. The conversation has nowhere to go. It can also feel a bit like an interview. It's not a shared experience, it's a direct question about them, which can feel a bit too personal from a stranger. Now, let's apply our environmental opener. You walk up, stand near them, and look at the same painting. After a moment, you could say, "The colors in this one are incredible, aren't they?" Do you see the difference? The first example is a question about them. The second example is a comment about the painting, the thing you are both sharing. You are on the same team, looking at the same thing. They can respond easily. "Yeah, they really are." Or, "I'm not so sure." It doesn't matter what they say. The door is now open. You have successfully initiated. Let's talk about the advantages of this technique. The biggest advantage is that it has a very low risk of rejection. You're not asking for their phone number. You're not asking them a deep personal question. You are just making a comment about the world around you. If they don't want to talk, they can just nod and turn away. And it doesn't feel awkward for anyone. It's safe. It's also incredibly easy. You don't need to prepare a script. You just need to use your eyes and ears. What are the limitations or challenges? Well, this technique is for initiating, for opening the door. It's not designed to create a long, deep conversation on its own. It's the key, but it doesn't drive the car. The conversation might end after their short reply if you don't have a next step. So here's a tip for success. When you make your environmental comment, try to make it positive or neutral. Complaining can sometimes work, like, "This line is taking forever," because it creates a shared sense of frustration. But positivity is usually a bad choice. "This music is really great," is much more inviting than "This music is terrible." The key benefit here is that the environmental opener helps you overcome that initial fear. It proves to you that starting a conversation is not a big, scary event. It's a small, simple observation. You're not trying to be the most interesting person in the room. You're just a person in a room, noticing something. Now you've initiated, you've opened the door. What's next? You need to invite them inside. A conversation that is just a series of statements isn't a conversation. It's a series of announcements. You need a way to keep the energy flowing back and forth. This is where our second technique comes in, the art of the open-ended question. Its purpose is to turn a short, simple interaction into a real conversation. It's the engine that moves you forward after you've used the key to start the car. This is how you go from talking about the weather to learning something real about another person. This is how you build rapport. There's our second powerful word, rapport. What does rapport mean? It's a close and harmonious relationship in which the people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well. In simpler terms, it's a feeling of connection and understanding with someone. When you have rapport, the conversation feels easy, natural, and comfortable. Let's practice the pronunciation. This word comes from French, so the spelling is a little tricky. The T at the end is silent. Say it with me. Rapport. The stress is on the second syllable, rapport. It rhymes with door. Let's say it again. Rapport. A good synonym for a rapport is connection, bond, or harmony. You could say, the two colleagues had a great connection. Or you could say, the two colleagues had a great rapport. Using the word rapport shows a deeper understanding of the quality of that connection. So, how do we build rapport using questions? The theoretical basis is about giving the other person space to share. There are two types of questions in the world, closed questions and open questions. A closed question can be answered with a single word, usually yes or no. For example, are you having a good time? Did you see the game last night? Do you like this music? These questions are conversation killers. They close the door that you just worked so hard to open. An open-ended question, on the other hand, requires a real answer. It invites the other person to share their thoughts, feelings, or stories. These questions often start with words like who, what, where, when, why, and how. Let's break down the procedure. First, you prepare by listening. After you've used your environmental opener, listen to their response. Their response is a gift. It contains the clues for your next question. Let's go back to the art gallery. You say, the colors in this one are incredible, aren't they? Them, yeah, they really are. It reminds me of the sunsets back home. Now you have a choice. You could ask a closed question. Oh, is your home far from here? The answer will be yes or no. Or you can use their gift. They mentioned sunsets back home. This is your clue. You introduce your open-ended question based on that clue, and then you execute. You ask, oh, that sounds beautiful. What are the sunsets like where you're from? Do you feel the difference? That question cannot be answered with a yes or no. It invites a story. It shows that you are listening. It tells the other person, I am interested in what you have to say. This is how rapport begins to form. Let's look at another bad versus good example. You're at a party, you using an environmental opener. This is a great party. The music is fantastic. Them, yeah, it's a great playlist. Bad, closed question. Do you know the host? Answer, yes. End of conversation. Good, open-ended question. Yeah, I love this kind of music. What other bands have you been listening to lately? Or if you want to connect it to the party, how do you know Sarah, the host? This question invites them to talk about their relationship with the host, which is much more interesting than a simple yes. The advantage of open-ended questions is enormous. They transform you from an interviewer into a curious conversationalist. They take the pressure off you to be interesting and instead allow you to be interested, which is far more attractive. People love to talk about themselves and their experiences. By asking good, open-ended questions, you give them the gift of being heard. The main challenge? You actually have to listen. You can't just be waiting for your turn to speak. You have to be genuinely curious. Your mind can't be racing ahead, thinking, what's my next question? What am I going to say now? You have to stay in the moment and listen to the words they are offering you. A tip for success: the tell me about structure is your secret weapon. Instead of asking, what was your vacation like? Which is already a good open question, you can soften it even more by saying, tell me about your vacation. It feels less like a question and more like a warm invitation. The key benefit of mastering open-ended questions is that you will never feel like you have to carry the entire conversation by yourself. A good conversation is like a game of catch. You throw the ball and they throw it back. An open-ended question is a perfect, easy-to-catch throw. But what if you do all this and it still doesn't work? What if you initiate a conversation, you ask an open-ended question, and the person gives you a short answer and looks away? Sometimes the words are perfect, but something else is missing. This brings us to the silent language that we are all speaking all the time. It happens before you say a single word. It is your body language. The most brilliant opener will fail if your body is sending the message, don't talk to me. To truly connect, you need to be approachable. And there's our third word for today: approachable. Being approachable means being friendly and easy to talk to. If you are approachable, people are not afraid to come up to you and start a conversation. You send out signals that say, I am open, I am friendly, I am safe. Let's practice this beautiful word, approachable. The stress is on the second syllable, approachable. Say it with me, approachable. A simple synonym for approachable would be friendly, welcoming, or accessible. You could say, the teacher had a friendly smile. Or you could say, the teacher's smile made her seem very approachable. The second sentence explains the effect of her smile. It describes the feeling she creates in other people. This isn't a technique you do in a conversation. It's a way of being before the conversation even starts. The theory is that humans are ancient creatures. For thousands of years, we had to quickly decide if a stranger was a friend or a threat. We still do this today, unconsciously. Your body language is the first piece of information people receive about you. So let's break down the step-by-step procedure for becoming more approachable. The preparation happens before you even think about talking to anyone. It's about setting your default posture. When you walk into a room or sit down in a cafe, what does your body do? The most common mistake people make, especially if they are nervous, is to try to make themselves smaller. They cross their arms, they hunch their shoulders, they look down at their phone. This is a defensive posture. It's like building a little fortress around yourself. It screams, leave me alone. To be approachable, you need to do the opposite. You need to have an open posture. Here's the execution. Keep your arms uncrossed. Let them rest at your sides or on your lap. Keep your shoulders relaxed and back. Lift your chin up and look at the world around you, not just at your screen. The phone is the greatest conversation killer of our time. Putting it away is a powerful signal that you are present and open to interaction. Then comes the most important part, your face. Two things are key here: eye contact and your smile. Eye contact doesn't mean staring intensely at people. That's creepy. It means that as you scan the room, you allow your eyes to briefly meet the eyes of others. Just for a second, a quick glance that says, I see you. And when you make that brief eye contact, you can add a small, gentle smile, not a huge fake grin, just a slight upward turn of your mouth. A relaxed, warm expression. This is the universal signal for I am friendly. Let's picture a bad example and a corrected applied one. Bad example. You walk into a room for a new class. You feel nervous. You immediately find a chair in the corner. You sit down, pull out your phone, cross your arms, and stare at your screen until the teacher arrives. You have sent a powerful message to every other person in that room. I am not available for conversation. Corrected example. You walk into the same room, you feel the same nervousness, that's normal. But this time, you take a breath. You leave your phone in your pocket. You find a seat, maybe closer to the middle of the room. You put your bag down and you look around. You let your eyes wander over the faces of your new classmates. If you happen to make eye contact with someone, you give them that small, quick, friendly smile. You have sent a completely different message. I am open and friendly. I am approachable. The advantage of approachable body language is that it does the work for you. Sometimes you won't even have to initiate the conversation. Someone else will see your open, friendly vibe, and they will come and talk to you. You're creating an invitation without saying a word. The challenge is that this can feel very vulnerable, especially if you are shy or introverted. When you're looking at your phone, you're safe. You have something to do. When you look up and open your posture, you are exposing yourself to the possibility of interaction and, yes, to the possibility of rejection. It takes courage. A tip for success: practice in low-stakes situations. When you buy a coffee, make eye contact with the barista and smile. When you're walking down the street, instead of looking at the ground, look up. Give a small nod to people you pass. Think of these as small exercises to build your approachable muscle. The key benefit is that being approachable changes your entire experience of the world. Instead of moving through a world of strangers, you start to move through a world of potential friends. The world becomes a warmer place because you are contributing to that warmth. So we have our techniques. We have the environmental opener to initiate, we have open-ended questions to build rapport, and we have approachable body language to send a silent invitation. But there is one more ingredient. It's the thing that ties it all together and makes it feel natural, not like you're following a script. That ingredient is spontaneity. This is our final C2 word, and it's a beautiful one. Spontaneity. Spontaneity is the quality of being natural, impulsive, and unplanned. It's the magic that happens when you stop thinking so much and just react in the moment. It's laughing at a joke you didn't expect or suddenly sharing a story you hadn't planned to tell. It's the lifeblood of a great conversation. The pronunciation is a bit longer, so let's take our time. Spontaneity. Spontaneity. The main stress is on the nay syllable. Spontaneity. Let's say it all together. Spontaneity. Synonyms could be naturalness, impulsiveness, or freedom. When a conversation has spontaneity, it feels alive. It's not a predictable, boring exchange. Now, this is where it gets interesting. How can you plan to be unplanned? How can you have a technique for spontaneity? You can't. And that's the whole point. Spontaneity isn't something you do, it's something you allow. The theory behind it is that our brains are often our own worst enemy in social situations. We are constantly planning, filtering, and judging ourselves. Should I say this? No, that sounds stupid. What if they don't like that idea? I'll just stay quiet. This internal monologue kills spontaneity. The step-by-step procedure is actually a process of letting go. Preparation is all the work we've already done. You know how to initiate, you know how to ask good questions, you know how to be approachable. These techniques are your safety net. You have the tools. You are prepared. The introduction and execution phase is about trusting those tools and then focusing on the other person. It's about practicing mindfulness in conversation. Listen so deeply to what they are saying that you forget to be nervous. Get so curious about their story that you don't have time to worry about your own. When you do this, a strange thing happens. The right words just appear. A funny thought might pop into your head, and because you're not overthinking, you just say it. You'll remember a story from your own life that connects to theirs, and you'll share it. This is spontaneity. It's the natural result of being present and genuinely connected. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're talking to someone who mentions they love hiking. The non-spontaneous overthinking brain might go, okay, hiking. I need to ask an open-ended question about hiking. How do I build rapport? What is the correct thing to say? The spontaneous present brain just hears hiking, and a memory pops up. You might suddenly laugh and say, oh, that's amazing. The last time I went hiking, I got completely lost and was saved by a group of tourists with the map. It was so embarrassing. That is a moment of real, spontaneous connection. It was unplanned, it was genuine, it was a little vulnerable. And it's much more powerful than the perfect question you were trying to find in your head. The advantage of allowing spontaneity is that this is where true friendship begins. It's in these unplanned, authentic moments that people really see you. It makes conversations fun, surprising, and memorable. The challenge is trust. You have to trust that you are enough. You have to trust that you don't need a perfect script. You have to trust that if you just listen and react honestly, the conversation will be okay. This is hard. It takes practice to quiet that voice of self-doubt in your head. A tip for success: embrace the awkwardness. Sometimes you'll say something spontaneous and it will fall flat. There will be a moment of silence. That's okay. It's not a failure. It's just part of the messy, beautiful process of human connection. The goal isn't a perfect conversation. The goal is a real one. The key benefit is that when you welcome spontaneity, you finally stop performing and you start connecting. You're no longer an English learner trying to say the right thing. You're just you, talking to another human being. And that is the ultimate goal. This brings us to a deep question that sits underneath all of these techniques. We've talked about words and body language and questions, but what about the feeling inside? This leads to a reflection I want you to consider. Is confidence more important than the words you use? You might see someone who is very confident, but their English isn't perfect. They make grammar mistakes, they search for words, and yet people love talking to them. They connect easily. Then you might see someone whose English is technically perfect. They know all the rules, but they are terrified. They speak quietly, they avoid eye contact, and they struggle to connect. What does this tell us? I believe that confidence isn't more important than words, and words aren't more important than confidence. They are partners. They dance together. Think of it like this. The techniques and the words we've learned today are the steps to the dance. Learning how to initiate, how to ask open-ended questions, this is like learning the footwork. It gives you a structure. It gives you something to hold on to when you feel lost. When you first start practicing these techniques, you might not feel confident. You're just following the steps. Okay, now I need to make an environmental comment. Now I need to ask an open-ended question. It feels mechanical. That's okay. That's the beginning. But as you practice, something amazing happens. You use an opener, and someone smiles back. You ask an open-ended question, and they tell you a wonderful story. You make yourself approachable, and someone initiates a conversation with you. Each small success is like a drop of water, and soon those drops start to fill a bucket. That bucket is your confidence. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is the result of experience. It is the feeling you get when you know you can handle a situation because you have handled it before. So you use the words and the techniques to build the experience. The experience then builds your confidence. And once that confidence grows, you start to rely less on the techniques. You don't need to think about the steps of the dance anymore. You just hear the music and you move. You start to trust yourself. You allow more spontaneity. Your confidence makes your words land with more power. And your growing skill with words makes you feel even more confident. It's a beautiful, positive cycle. So do not wait to feel confident before you start. That is like waiting for the water to be warm before you learn how to swim. You have to get in the water. Use these techniques as your life jacket. They will keep you afloat. Start small. Initiate one conversation this week. Ask one open-ended question. Practice approachable body language for 5 minutes while you wait for your bus. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be brave. And bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is feeling the fear, feeling your heart pounding in your chest, hearing that voice in your head telling you to stay quiet, and doing it anyway. You have the tools. You have the words. You know how to open the door. The only question left is, will you turn the key? Ultimately, the desire to connect is what makes us human. The courage to try is what makes us grow. Do you agree? Is confidence something you build or something you're born with? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading them, and it's a great way for all of us to learn from each other. Thank you so much for joining me today at English Made Easy. If you want to keep improving, keep listening. Making this a daily habit, even for just a few minutes, is the fastest way to make progress. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.